we're going to talk about something that's quietly becoming a really big deal, especially for folks who've spent a lifetime carefully building their retirement. You see, there's a kind of silent, high-tech leak that can spring up in your budget. It's not about big market swings or anything like that. No, this is about the small stuff, those little charges that seem harmless, but believe me, they add up. So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to put a name to this problem. I call it the silent leak. Then, we'll dive into what this subscription-native world is all about. After that, we'll talk about stepping up and becoming your own financial gatekeeper, and I'll give you a practical budget hardening protocol. We'll also look at why this whole thing is actually a sign of integrity, and we'll wrap it all up with a very simple, gentle challenge. Okay, let's jump right in with Section 1, the silent leak. This really gets to a hidden truth about managing money these days, especially if you're over 60 and remember when the economy worked in a very different way. So does this sound familiar? You glance at your bank statement and you see this trail of little charges, $9.99 here, $14.99 there. They're for things you vaguely remember signing up for, right? A free trial for a streaming app to watch one movie, maybe a news site you meant to cancel. But months go by and the money just keeps quietly slipping away. Now, I want to be crystal clear. This is not happening because you're getting forgetful or you're bad with technology. It's a system, a specifically designed system called the Frictionless Drain, and it is actively working against you. And you've got to understand what this system really is. It's not a mistake on your part, it's a feature of their design. These companies pour millions of dollars into making the sign-up process absolutely effortless, totally frictionless. One click, you're in. But what happens when you decide you want out? Well, suddenly it's nothing but friction. You're hunting for a hidden menu, you have to answer a survey, you might even have to get on the phone. They've built a whole psychological obstacle course, and it's designed to be just annoying enough that you finally say, forget it, and let the charges keep coming. And that leads us right into our next section, because this frictionless drain doesn't happen in a vacuum. It thrives in what I call the subscription-native world. To get a handle on the problem, you really have to see just how much the basic rules of buying things have changed. And here it is, the central conflict. Most of us grew up with a transaction-native brain. You bought something, a newspaper, a hammer, a vinyl record. The deal was clean, it was finished, it was done. Our brains are hardwired for that sense of completion. But we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a subscription-native world. Everything's been unbundled. What used to be one service is now 10, maybe 20 different apps, and every single one has its own little recurring charge. This new world isn't built on finished transactions, it's built on endless ones. And what's so clever, or maybe sneaky, about this new model is how it hijacks our own brain's wiring. You see, we all have something called default bias. Our brains are just incredibly efficient machines, always looking to save energy by taking the path of least resistance. And you better believe subscription companies know this. They design their services so that the easiest thing to do is, nothing. And doing nothing is the default that keeps you paying them. They are literally banking on your brain's natural instinct to avoid a hassle. This brings us to another really important idea, metabolic cost. Now, this isn't about dollars and cents. This is about the mental and emotional energy, the brain power it takes to do something. So think about canceling that $10 a month service. First, you've got to remember the password. Then you have to log in, navigate their confusing website, find the right little button, and maybe even argue with a chatbot. The sheer mental effort of it all, the metabolic cost, often feels way more expensive than the $10 you'd save. So your brain does a quick cost-benefit analysis and says, you know what, it's just easier to pay it for one more month. So let's pull back the curtain on exactly how they keep you on the hook. This slide really breaks down their playbook. First, you've got that unbundling effect we just talked about, where one thing you used to buy is now 10 apps you have to manage. That leads straight to digital task saturation, that feeling of being totally swamped by a million little digital chores. Then you have dark patterns. These are sneaky, confusing design choices, like hiding the unsubscribe button in a weird place, that are literally meant to trick you. And finally, there's algorithmic persistence. You might get tired, but their automated billing system, it never gets tired. It's a cage match between your human attention span and their relentless computer code. Okay, so understanding the problem is step one. But now let's pivot and talk about the solution. And it all starts with a huge shift in your mindset. This section is all about becoming the financial gatekeeper. And this isn't just about your money, it's about your peace of mind. Let's get one thing straight, right here and now. You are not losing your edge, you are not bad with money. You are literally in a fight with some of the most sophisticated systems ever designed to capture your attention and your cash. So the real question is, how do you take back your power? How do you step back into the driver's seat? The answer is all about this powerful shift in thinking. You have to move from being a passive consumer to an active financial gatekeeper. See, passive consumption is what happens when you just let those little charges go, when you accept the default. But active gatekeeping, that means you decide what comes in and what goes out. You become the lead auditor of your own life. You stop being an accidental subscriber and you become the chief financial officer of your household, where every single dollar has a job to do. And here is a line I really want you to remember. Convenience is often just a costume for overpayment. That one-click sign-up, that free trial that was so easy to start, it all feels so convenient, doesn't it? But that convenience is the Trojan horse that lets hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars leak out of your retirement fund every single year. Real control and real peace doesn't come from that kind of digital convenience. It comes from financial clarity. Trust me, a clean statement leads to a very calm mind.
So, how do we make this happen? Let's get into the nuts and bolts. This next section is where I'll introduce the budget hardening protocol. It's a simple framework to help you put these ideas to work safely and effectively. But before we get to the protocol, let's start with a simple mental trick. I call it the cash equivalent rule. When you see a charge for, say, $15 a month, your brain just sees a small, harmless number. From now on, I want you to multiply every single monthly charge by 12. That simple $15 subscription, it's actually a $180 a year expense. Now ask yourself, is that service really giving you $180 of value? Just doing that simple math instantly wakes up the long-term planning part of your brain and shows you the real cost. All right, here's the protocol itself. And don't think of these as tips, think of them as your personal defense system. Step 1 is the paper statement audit. Once a month, actually print out your bank or credit card statements. Don't just look at them on a screen. Studies show that holding a physical piece of paper activates the analytical part of your brain. Then take a red pen and circle every single recurring charge. Step 2, the utility test. For every one of those circles, ask this question: have I used this in the last 14 days? If the answer is no, it gets canceled. Step 3, the virtual card buffer. This is a game changer. Most banks now offer these single-use or temporary credit card numbers. You can use one for a free trial and then just turn the card off. The power is completely back in your hands. And finally, step 4, subscription-free Sunday. Pick one Sunday a month, put it on your calendar, and make that your day to make one call to cancel or negotiate a bill. It turns a dreaded chore into a scheduled, empowering ritual. Now, I want to address the feeling that often comes up when you start doing this, that feeling of frustration. In this section, we're going to reframe that feeling. It's not a weakness, it's a huge source of strength. This is about seeing it as a sign of integrity and finding wisdom for the long game. Let me be very clear about this. If you get frustrated by confusing online bills and sneaky hidden charges, that is not a sign that you're falling behind the times. It is a sign of your advanced integrity. You come from a world where a deal was a deal, where things were clear and accountable. That frustration you feel, that's your deeply held values clashing with a system that's designed to be confusing. That feeling is a good thing. It means your internal compass is working perfectly. Never forget the truth of who you are. You are a master of stewardship. You have spent 60 years, an entire lifetime, working hard, saving, and carefully building what you have. You have every single right, and frankly, the responsibility to be a fierce protector of that nest egg. So trust that gut feeling that tells you to be careful and thorough. That instinct is what got you here, and it's the very thing that's going to keep your future secure. You are the boss of your own fortune, period. We've covered a lot of ground today, from identifying the problem to shifting our mindset and learning the practical tools. So let's bring it all home with one simple, direct, and really empowering call to action. This is your gentle challenge. Look, the biggest takeaway is this: if you aren't auditing your apps, the apps are auditing you. Every hidden charge is a little unauthorized withdrawal from your future. So here it is, your challenge for the next 24 hours. It's so simple. Step 1, pull up your last bank statement and find just one subscription, one recurring charge for something you haven't touched in the last month. Just one. And step 2, cancel it. Today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Take that one small but powerful action to plug a leak and secure the vault. Your financial clarity isn't a privilege. It's a basic right you have earned over a lifetime of work. You absolutely have the power to stop this digital drain. And it can start with something as simple as a red pen. Begin with that paper statement audit we talked about. Remember, being the CFO of your own life is the most important job you have. So I hope you'll close this explainer feeling calm, confident, and in control. Audit the statement, anchor the budget, and lead your life with the clarity you've earned. Thanks for being here with me.